Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video on the Gooners and Gloves Podcast channel. In today's video, it's going to be the 30-second Gooners and Gloves Podcast, and I'm going to be going over my thoughts and reactions to Arsenal's game versus Everton. This of course ended in a 0-0 draw, the first goalless stalemate that I'm covering on this channel, and unfortunately, it is disappointing. I can't really sugarcoat it. It's a disappointing result. Games like this are really a must-win. That we really cannot afford to be dropping points in games like this. What makes it even more painful is that Liverpool also dropped points against Fulham in a 2-2 game where they also got a red card. So this was a prime opportunity to close the gap a bit further, and unfortunately we just didn't do that. We kept the gap the same. It's nice that the gap didn't increase, but it really should have decreased based on the circumstances. So yeah, just going to go over kind of how the game went, what I thought of the performance. I mean, you could probably tell that I wasn't particularly happy but from the tone of my voice and everything. But yeah, pretty much let's just get straight into it. So yeah, 0-0. And of course, first of all, credit to Everton's defence. Everton defended very well. Pickford, of course, had an incredible game. Pickford just had a fantastic game, made so many great saves. Branthwaite did really well, Mikalenko, etc., etc. Just a really good defensive. Ashley Young did really well, and despite Ashley Young almost being 40 years old, he still managed to do really well against Martinelli, who is almost half his age. Despite that, Ashley Young still did very well against Martinelli. Branthwaite did really well. Mikalenko, just the whole defense from Everton was really good. They came to the Emirates with the objective of getting a point, and they succeeded. So I can't hate on them for it. I can't really knock them for it. They did park the bus, but honestly, fair enough. Like I can't blame them for that. The Emirates is not an easy place to go, and they figured, what, park the bus and get a point, and they did. So massive credit to them, no hate whatsoever. I'm not the type of person that gets angry at a team for parking the bus. I don't really think there's much wrong with it. End of the day, they saw the opportunity to get a point, they saw an opportunity to defend, and they took it, and they did really well. So credit to Everton for that. But yeah, in terms of Arsenal, just I don't know. We just weren't on it. I mean, the squad just wasn't on it. It wasn't present. I mean, there was Saka, who did obviously very well. Saka had a good game, and in my opinion was very unlucky not to score. I mean, I immediately think of that one volley he did where Pickford got a fingertip reaction to it, deflected off the post and back out. And there were a couple of other opportunities, but yeah, Martinelli just did not have a good game today, and it pains me to say this because I like Martinelli so much, but I don't know. He wasn't on it today, and in general, I just don't know if Martinelli's really been on it. And he scores occasionally. He gets the occasional assist, but for the most part, I don't know. He just wasn't on it in the game. Havertz just really didn't do much. I mean, yeah, just was not present in the game. Really did not do much at all. You look at the midfield, and again, it pains me to say this, but Odegaard, I thought, had a poor game. He didn't do well. That being said, that despite him having not had the best game, I still don't agree with the fact that Arteta decided to sub him off. End of the day, when it's 0-0 and you really need that goal, I feel like you need the inspiration of having your captain on the pitch. So as much as I understand from Arteta's perspective that Odegaard wasn't having a good game, I definitely don't think under the circumstances that he should have been subbed off. And so that's not something I agree with, and that's something that I do have to criticize. I don't think that Odegaard should have been coming off, because I just don't, end of the day, you need that inspiration, you need the captain there, and ultimately, as much as he wasn't having his best game, he was still creating occasionally and had a couple of chances himself. So yeah, but yeah, Odegaard may not have had the best game, but I definitely don't think he should have been subbed off. Defensively, I thought we were fine, obviously, but that makes sense because, of course, Everton were mainly defending and were only occasionally attacking. Though that being said, though, I do think back to that first chance that Everton had, Doucouré, I think, where, he was just about able to score, but then Gabriel made a really good intervention. Speaking of which, delighted to have Gabriel back. Great to see him back in the starting 11, and I thought he had a great game. He was fantastic, on FPL as well, Fantasy Premier League, he was actually given 3 bonus points for it. So I'm delighted because on Fantasy Premier League, I actually got 9 points. And in fact, on Fantasy Premier League, I had both Gabriel and Jurrien Timber. So that's 15 points between them, which was nice. But yeah, Gabriel I thought was brilliant. It was a great way for him to return after 3 games absent. And I'm buzzing to have him back into the squad. And again, you could just see how much more confident the defense is, Miles Lewis-Skelly actually had his first start in the Premier League. And again, I thought he did well. I was happy with Miles Lewis-Skelly. I thought he did pretty solid. Again, couple of really good passes, some good defensive interventions all round, and yeah, it's just been really good to see Miles Lewis-Skelly step up when we've needed him. Of course, he had his first start in the Champions League, and I thought he was brilliant in that game, and this was another performance that I thought he did really well in. So yeah, buzzing to have Miles Lewis-Skelly there as an option, and yeah, I just think Miles Lewis-Skelly is brilliant, and I think he's a definite young star in the making, and I'm really excited about having him in the squad. But yeah, there just isn't really much to say. Pretty much the story of the game was we tried our best, we attacked, but at the end of the day, Everton just defended really well. One thing I must say though is I thought the corners were looking a lot like they were lacking today, like in the game. Like we had a lot of them, but they just were not dangerous. I don't know, like they just weren't on it. The deliveries from Saka and Rice weren't particularly accurate. Occasionally they were. I mean, a couple of them did go on target, to be fair, but for the most part, the deliveries were not as accurate. Definitely not up to the standard that we're used to from Rice and Saka. And speaking of Rice, he actually came off early. At first, I was actually really confused why Arteta took him off early. I was thinking, like, why is Rice coming off? Like, surely, he's important. But then it was revealed by Arteta in the post-match press conference that Rice himself actually asked to be taken off. So, unfortunately, that likely means another injury scare, which is just, it's not good. I mean, another injury scare, because you'd imagine that's the only reason Rice probably wanted to come off was just due to the fact that he probably had some sort of injury. Of course, we know he's been out a couple of times this season, and I'm not sure if this is his foot injury flaring back up or if it's a different injury, but it's definitely not ideal. So I think midweek in the Carabao Cup is definitely a good opportunity to rest Rice, because we do have in fact, funnily enough, we actually have the same team back to back next week. We've got Palace at home and away in the same week. We obviously have Palace at home in the Carabao Cup, and then we have Palace away in the Premier League. So yeah, but definitely a good opportunity to rest Rice in the home game against Crystal Palace so that we can have him ready for upcoming games. But yeah, pretty much that's most of what I can really say about the game. It was just, it was disappointing. We really should not be dropping points in a game like this. And again, especially when Liverpool are also, themselves also dropped points in a thriller against Fulham. Not only that, but also at the time of recording, the Sunday games haven't actually happened. It's, it's the morning right now. It's Sunday morning. So at the time of recording, the Sunday games haven't actually happened yet. But if City wins today, they go level on points with us. If Chelsea wins, which you'd imagine they will, they go 4 points clear of us. So it's not good. It's not good at all. I really doubt Chelsea are going to lose, so I'm not even going to try and hope it's going to happen, because it's just not. Like, Brentford are terrible away from home. They've only got a single point away from home, and Chelsea are just on fire at the moment. So I'm not even going to have any false hope. I do have a little bit of hope that maybe City won't beat United, and that could be a draw. So that's the one bit of hope I've got, but then again, it's a derby, and City are now going to be even more up for it because they know that they could go level on points with us. But yeah, it's an incredibly unfortunate result. There really isn't much to say about it. But at the same time, regardless of the result, I back Arteta and the squad all the way. I'm sure that the finishing will come good at some point. I mean, we've seen games like West Ham, Sporting Lisbon, Nottingham Forest. Like, clearly our finishing is really good, and we've proven that on multiple occasions. We just need that consistency. So I don't think so much the actual finishing itself is the problem. I think it's the consistency of the finishing that's the problem. In some games like the aforementioned West Ham, Sporting Lisbon, Nottingham Forest, we're completely on it. The finishing is brilliant, and we're doing so well. But then on games like this Everton game, the Fulham game, etc., the finishing just isn't there, and it's not good. And yeah, but because of those games, I do have the confidence that Arteta and the squad will come good, and that they will find a way to make sure that the finishing is more consistent. But yeah, pretty much it's a game that we have to move on from now. It's a really unfortunate result, but we must move on. The only positive is that we didn't lose, we didn't concede, so at least it's a clean sheet and everything. But yeah, pretty much moving on to the next game now. So we've got Crystal Palace at home in the Carabao Cup. Again, the Carabao Cup, I want to see us at least getting to the final. Ideally, this is really a competition that we should be winning. Like, we have the talent, we have the squad. I know Liverpool is still in the cup, but regardless of that, we definitely have a good chance. So but as a bare minimum, as an absolute bare minimum, I want to see us getting to the final, and I think most Arsenal fans can agree with that. As an absolute minimum, I think we should at least be getting to the final of the Carabao Cup, and we have Crystal Palace at home, a nice good game. So hopefully we can just get to the semi-finals and eventually make it to Wembley for the final. So that's the next game, Crystal Palace at home in the Carabao Cup. So again, hopefully we'll see the likes of Ethan Ranieri, Miles Lewis-Skelly, maybe Gabriel Jesus, etc. getting the game time. Then of course, as I mentioned before, after that it's Crystal Palace again, with Crystal Palace away at Selhurst Park. Of course, not an easy place to go, but hopefully we can get the win. We do now have 2 draws on the bounce in the Premier League, so hopefully now we can get the win and get back to winning ways. But yeah, pretty much that's going to wrap it up for this podcast. So the main talking points were really just Everton defended really well. Our chances, while they were there and we were close, we didn't convert. The set pieces were not as dangerous in the game. Like, the set pieces were definitely not as dangerous, and we do need to see. I'm just really hoping that the opponents don't start figuring out a solution to it, because it did seem like Everton were doing well at preventing them from being dangerous, with the exception of a couple set pieces. But yeah, they weren't on it. Martinelli, Odegaard, those sorts of players, Havertz, Jesus, they just weren't on it. They weren't doing that well. Saka definitely created chances, and he did have a couple of good ones himself, and in my opinion was quite unlucky not to score. And then the defense I thought was solid. Gabriel coming back, he did well. Miles Lewis-Skelly, he did well for his first start. But yeah, pretty much that's going to wrap up this podcast. Please let me know down below what you thought of it. I'd imagine it's going to be interesting to see what you guys think. I'm sure a lot of you are probably quite disappointed and upset with the result, and it's certainly hard to blame you. I'm definitely disappointed and upset with the result as well, but at the same time, I'm trying to also not be too overly reactionary. End of the day, we did have a lot of chances in the game, and we were quite unlucky not to score at points. But by the same token, credit to Everton, they were brilliant defensively, and if they keep up this defense, then they definitely could stay up in the Premier League this season. But yeah, pretty much, thank you guys so much for listening. Have a great day. The next few videos on the channel, so there'll be my reaction to the Arsenal Crystal Palace game. Before that though, there'll probably be the Tyson Fury Alexander Usyk rematch prediction. I'm not sure when I'll do that video, either before or after, but in the upcoming week you will see the Arsenal Crystal Palace reaction, the Tyson Fury Alexander Usyk 2 prediction, the Arsenal Crystal Palace reaction again, because obviously there's the other Arsenal Crystal Palace game, and then the Tyson Fury Alexander Usyk reaction. So that's going to be the videos that you guys will be seeing over the next week. So I'm really excited. 2 Arsenal videos, 2 boxing videos. Super excited for the Tyson Fury Alexander Usyk rematch. But yeah, pretty much, thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate each and every single one of you. You all mean the world to me. Thank you for all the support you've been giving me. There's a couple of weeks left until the end of the year, and as I said, if we could hit 50 subscribers by the end of the year, that would be amazing, and that's my goal. So if you want to help me out with that goal, please like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on another podcast soon. Bye bye.